Okay, hello everybody. I just want to make a quick and dirty video about how to draw or how to use the word tree drawing software for the morphology homework assignment. And I've played around with this a bit, as you know, in class, and you can see it on some of the videos for the practice exercises too. But just to kind of focus specifically on this software, I wanted to make a short video that goes along with this handout that I'm posting to the course webpage, just in case you have any doubts about how to use it, because I want the software to facilitate your ability to do the homework and not draw away from it, I guess I could say. So for that reason, I'll just walk you through this. The goal is to create this tree, which I use as an example on the morphology homework to give you sort of frame of reference for how to make your own trees. So what we're going to do is we're going to make that tree, and I'll just kind of to remind you, go to the morphology homework, and we can take a look at it at the bottom of one of these trees that I want you to create. Here's the same tree down here, along with the code it uses here. And for the homework, you put your code in brackets there. I'm actually going to use this JS syntax tree interface that I linked to on the course webpage. So you can find that as well on the links or in the links for the course webpage. It's right here. And again, it looks exactly the same as the original that I just showed you. But this was originally developed for syntax. So we're going to get back to this later when we start studying syntax after the midterm. And syntax is word order within a whole tree, but you can use this, you can apply it just as easily to morphology as we've seen. So we're going to get rid of this nice, beautiful, big syntax tree and create one of our own that will ultimately look like this. So here's the link to the syntax tree drawing software, and you already have the link to the homework and so on and so forth. So we're going to start out with this very, very simple code, which doesn't really look like a tree at all because it's just a link between two nodes. So the top node is the word verb, and the bottom node is the word use. And so it just goes straight down and says basically use is a verb. Maybe we can make that a little bit bigger. Yeah. Either way, if you put that code in the syntax tree drawing software, it gives you this particular image. And actually, as long as we're here, I didn't set myself up for this very well, but if you click on this tree here, this is going to look pretty boring, but it will automatically download that image to your computer. So I can double click this on a Mac and it just shows me what I downloaded there. On a Mac, it goes into my downloads folder and you can do whatever you want with it from there. I don't know where it goes on a PC exactly, but yeah, that's how you can save it if you want to refer to it later. And when you save it, at least on a Mac, it has a sort of grayish background, just I think based on the PNG file format. But if you load it up into like a Word document or something, it's going to look like this, and it will look clean and like it belongs. But that just by the way, we're just getting started. The crucial point here, I've got a couple of points to make here, but basically the way we can get this sort of arrangement to work, where you have a higher level node and a lower level node, is that you first of all put everything within the square brackets, and then you can have two words in the middle and have a space between them. And the space is what kind of makes it crucially a tree, because it'll put this verb, this first word, in the top node and the use, the second word, in the bottom node. I'm going to go along with regular syntax terminology here, though, and say that the top node is the mother node, and the bottom node is the daughter node. So you can think of this like it's a bit like genealogy. But that's basically, this is going to be the mother node within your brackets, the first word in the sequence within the brackets. And then this will be what's below it in the daughter node. If you don't have that space, things get messed up. Verbose, which kind of sounds like a blend of verb and abuse, I guess. I guess I'm verbusing the tool here. I'll show myself out later. Anyways, that's how you basically make one of these trees. So that's where we can get started, because what we're going to do is we're going to make a much more complicated tree for the word reusable. But basically what we've started out with is this structure at the bottom. And you can see that particular code down here in the example code for the homework. It's the verb use right there. Okay, that's the simplest thing we can do. to add the next level up, if we want to project up to a higher level node, what we need to do is put brackets around all that original structure. And then we're also going to include this verb over on the left-hand side of those brackets for the next up higher level mother node, which at this point, actually I'll probably just do this so you can see how I'm going to add it. So I got left bracket verb, and then I need to have the right bracket over on this side, and then kind of crucially I have the space here in between this label and the original structure right here. So that projects up this to a higher level node right there. You may notice here that I have, there are subscripts for the different verb nodes here in the tree. In the homework, this one, you don't get those subscripts because I have the auto subscript feature turned off on this interface. On this one, it's automatically turned on. We don't really need that for morphology. It can be handy when you do this for syntax, but I'm going to turn it off for now so we can just see it looking like this. So we have kind of a verb above a verb, and I guess you could call that the grandmother node at this point. But it's still kind of an uninteresting tree because we just go grandmother, mother to daughter. And we kind of want to have more structure in there. There's no reason to kind of project a verb up here without saying that something else gets added into the mix. So to do that, we're going to add the morpheme re to the beginning of this structure. And hopefully you can see that every time I give you this code, anything I put in highlighted is just the thing that I'm adding on to the structure to make a more complex, more complicated tree. It's a little bit frustrating. I wanted to highlight the little space here because it's important, but Word won't let me do that. I'll do that anyway here as I enter the code, and you can see how this works. Once I put that bit in there on the left hand, within the left-hand side of this larger set of brackets or more exterior set of brackets, then I get the morpheme re appearing before this verb use structure. Yeah, this is kind of not sufficient in its own right, though, because it looks like re being in blue here is kind of like a label, like a lexical category label for whatever's going on inside these brackets. We don't really want that. We can fix that by adding daf there, derivation for derivational affix. So this will be the label of whatever is inside this set of brackets. And it's a derivational affix because re, if you add that to use, you get a new verb reuse, so on and so forth. So this is a derivational affix. It creates a new verb. It means something different. You can use something, or if you're reusing it, that means something else than just using it. But it's still a verb, so it doesn't change the lexical category. It just adds semantic content to this newly formed word. Anyways, that's a derivational affix. This is kind of the morpheme bit that goes at the beginning. And now we have a new word, so that's all great. And we just need to add one more level to it, basically. I've got this note here about saving the diagrams. We can do it again. Just got to click. There it goes. Oh, there is my new diagram. Great. It doesn't matter. I kind of already saved it because I have it here in my Word document, but you can play around with that as much as you want at home using your own syntax tree interface. Anyways, we can add the next level up by creating another outer level of brackets labeled as an adjective. So this way we'll get sort of the great grandmother node, I guess you could say. And great grandma is an adjective rather than a verb. So for that, we need to put another outer set of brackets around the whole structure. And then to kind of label that higher level node, we put this on the left-hand side of those brackets. So the word adjective to denote this lexical category. This is where we want it to be. However, we don't have all the information in here that we need. Reuse is still a verb. We need something else to turn that verb into an adjective. So to complete that tree, I'm going to put another derivational affix on the right-hand side of the tree. It's the affix able, which I've got denoted here with a little dash in front of it. We can see how the final output looks. We've seen that already. The tricky part of this is, like, where exactly do I put this new set of brackets? Because now we've got three right-hand brackets over on this side and can be a little bit confusing about where the new one should go. But remember, this is the one we just added, the outermost set of brackets. So I'm going to actually stick it in there, kind of sneak it in on the outside, at least as far outside as it can go, and then we get it slotted into the right spot in the tree. So it's kind of working as a sister node to this whole structure here, this verb, as it were. Yeah, if I were to put it within the next set of brackets, then it winds up being a sister node for everything that's in there, which is three things: the re morpheme, the verb use, and now we'd have this other morpheme of bowl in there. But that's not the structure. We don't add both these things at the same time. We know that this gets added on after re because a bowl changes a verb into an adjective, and it means basically like the quality of that verb. Something could be reusable. Yeah, so like this tree or this code for the tree, because you can reuse it for your morphology homework if you would like. That's the little dad joke I wanted to make. Like I said, I'm going to show myself out later. You don't have to worry about it or boo me off the stage. I just want to make one more point that because we do get some complicated structures with some of these trees, and we have multiple brackets next to each other, it can be confusing about which one is which. And I was thinking, rather than having the subscripts for this, it could actually be even more useful to say have different colored brackets so that you know which one matches up with which in these complicated tree structures. But we're not there yet. I don't know how to implement that in JavaScript land. And May and Andrea Eisenbach, I have to say thank you very much for creating this interface because it's been very helpful throughout the pandemic and for other reasons too. But be that as it may, if you can't figure out which brackets line up with which other brackets in this structure, I guess the piece of advice I could give you is to simplify things back down to something easier to read until you kind of figure it all out. And if you can't figure it all out, even then, you might want to go back to the very start and just say, let's stick with the basics and build back up, and eventually you'll figure it out. That's a bit of a drastic solution, but in a pinch, it doesn't really matter how you get to the right answer as long as you get there eventually. So that's one piece of sort of debugging advice I could give you, is to simplify things until they become clear, even if you have to simplify them all away. For now, though, this is how you develop or create this morphological word tree for reusable. You'll see a lot of other complex morphological words which kind of have similar structures, and hopefully you can use some of this code to help you build those for your homeworks. And hopefully this video is going to be useful in general for other things down the line, because we'll return to this software when we do both phonology and syntax. So I hope you get a handle on it now, well before those topics come around. And if you don't understand it completely, feel free to ask me questions. And otherwise, have fun, and I'll see you somewhere down the line when we talk about the same topic for phonology and syntax.